meant to put this out earlier today, but I just got busy. Just finishing up some yard work and so forth. So I had a dad. His son was second in the state. Going to be a senior next year. They're coming to our 14-day dream season camp. And he's like, what does he need to do to win the state title? I'll do anything. He'll do anything. I'll spend the money. You just tell me what we should do. And this is what I told him. I've been saying this for 2 decades. What I would have done differently as a wrestler. I wrestled in the late 80s, college in the 90s, and, won state a few times and was ranked number 1 in the nation as a senior. Wrestled at Oklahoma State, was All-American, earned the number 1 ranking in the NCAA junior and senior year. Junior was ineligible. The death penalty by the NCAA cost me a chance to compete, and then just wasn't able to get it done my senior year. Was still All-American, but so had decent success, even though wrestling was quite a bit easier back then than it is now. A lot easier, but comparatively speaking, I probably have enough experience to share a few things, especially since I've been coaching 29 years and full-time as a career. I haven't had a real job, quote, real job, in 24 and a half years besides coaching wrestling. So there's why I think I might have some insight that you could benefit from. Number one, now this is not for 6-year-olds, okay, or 8-year-olds. I don't want to steal anybody's childhood, so no nasty comments. This is for the kids who are like the young man's dad who I just talked to. Wants to win the state title, wants to wrestle on the national level, wants to wrestle in college, wants to be an NCAA champion. The kid will do anything. He's locked in. He gives up a lot of aspects of his life to try to win. And those of you who are serious athletes, you get it. Okay, for those, this is what I would do differently. This is what I tell all of our academy kids to do. My nephew's competing. He's a junior in high school, going to Oklahoma State in a year and a half. Number one, you should be on the mat 3 times a week. I like twice a week with a coach and workout partners, 1 day a week on your own. If you want to put in more, then go 3 times with a team or a club, and then once a week on your own. I think it's important to go on your own once a week. And this is why. So if you come to a coach's practice, the coach is like, okay, we're working leg attack. This is what we're doing for our competition camp, which starts tomorrow. Leg attack defense, and among other things. And let's say coach is working leg attack defense. Okay. And you're like, coach, my kid pushed me around with the underhook. He beat me last time. Sectionals are coming up this weekend. I would like to work underhook defense and, things of that sort. Coach is like, nope, we're working leg attack defense and bottom. You are at the mercy of a coach. It's not a good place to be. So you need to get on your own wrestling mat, wrestling time once a week. Other 2 days a week, maybe 3, you need to be wrestling, and you need to have a plan. So we like to say 95% of your points come from 5% of the wrestling. Some of you say, well, I don't like watching college wrestling because the matches all look the same, and it's boring. I'm like, dude, you watch football. I don't watch football, but I've seen it a few times. They all look the same. Golf looks the same. Track looks the same. People running in a circle. You watch track on the Olympics. Gymnastics, that looks the same. Boxing looks the same. UFC looks the same. So maybe you just don't like wrestling. I don't know. But yes, the college matches all pretty much look the same. Unless there's a freak that can do some crazy stuff, a little short, muscly power freak who can just bully people around. Maybe Jordan Burroughs can shoot from 13 foot away. Bo Nichols kind of wrestles sideways and he's acrobatic. There's some guys that do it differently, and girls. But for the most part, we say 95% of your points come from 5% of the wrestling. You want to hone in on that. And, the college wrestling matches all look the same. That's by design. That's not on accident. So you start to really hone in on the very common positions in wrestling and a few of the counters to counters, and then you have a practice plan. So like at our 14-day camp, we narrowed it down, and in our ultra advanced academy, 78 wrestling techniques roughly. And this is on our online academy if you're a member of that. There's more than just the 78, but that's basically the core of phase 1 and phase 2 is what I've built my whole career around. And, we just had 83 high school kids medal in state and 24 state champs the past 2 weeks in Illinois and Missouri. Academy members, not campers. So that's kind of what they're doing. So you want to have the core skills of wrestling, and you want to drill those twice a week, maybe 3 times. You want to go live wrestling and wrestle live wrestling like it's the national finals, the high school national finals, and Cale Sanderson's watching. How are you going to wrestle? Do that. No tinkering around. And I'm not against sparring and all of this, but you probably don't even need to spar. You haven't won anything yet. You need to learn to kick ass and fight. So I wouldn't roll around and tinker and cat and mouse and spar. I would learn how to beat someone, okay? So wrestle hard for 45 minutes to an hour. 2 days a week, maybe 3. 1 day a week on your own. That on your own time is when you're working your stuff. And it's not just your stuff, it's also maybe something new. Maybe you learned something cool on Instagram, right? Maybe he's learned it from us. Nick Purler or Tanner Irwin put something up. Or maybe you learned something online. You're like, oh, Flow Wrestling had this cool video. It was awesome. The Helen Morales Russian 2-on-1 to a fireman's carry. Okay, save that. So now on that 1 day week of your own, you're going to drill for an hour and 15 minutes by yourself or with a partner on your own, no coach. That's what you're working. Some new stuff. It's fun. It makes wrestling fun. So that 1 day a week on your own, that's what you're doing. You don't even have to go live wrestling that day. It's just fun. Work on this stuff. So maybe it's recognizing and countering and sealing off an underhook. Maybe it's 2 ways to get out of an underhook if they get it. Okay, so I drew 100 reps of each of those. I feel good now. I'm no longer scared if you underhook me. Yay, guess what? I'm starting to get excited because I feel like I'm getting better. My confidence is starting to grow. Maybe you go live that day, maybe you don't. And then, you get some new moves and techniques and stuff that you wanted to mess around with. Maybe you spend 20 minutes doing that. You might not even break a sweat. Great, it's an easy day. Rest your body, okay? Rest your nervous system. Save it for tomorrow because we got to go to war tomorrow. So, this day is kind of fun. And it's a great way to build confidence. Number 2, be very serious about the weight room. Twice a week, year-round, you have to lift weights. 3 is probably best, but twice is enough. So let's say Monday, Thursday, you lift weights for an hour. You have a good plan. You have your headphones on, right? Your whatever these are, the AirPods, earbuds, these things that stick in your ear. And I don't care if the 3 hottest cheerleaders in the school walk in the high school weight room. You don't look at them. And girls, if some cool dude walks in the weight room, ignore the cool dude. You are not winning enough. You do not have time to socialize. You are weak. You have to get strong. So here we are, 2 days a week. You're really attacking the weight room. You've got a stopwatch hanging around your neck. 90 seconds to 2 minutes break in between sets. That's it. If you're on a set and somebody says, hey, you mind if I work in? Yes. Get out of here. I don't lift weights with people. I lift weights by myself. Unless you have a savage partner that you can lift weights with, then I will do that. For the most part, we're not going to work in because it just turns into being a joke, all right? So everything's on a timer. Unless you're supersetting. You might do a set of bench, and then you go right over to a set of pull-ups, and then you go back to bench, back to pull-ups. So I think supersetting is okay, especially if you're crunched for time, but you got to really be serious about the weight room. And it's not just the multi-joint kind of powerlifting, strength developing exercises. It's also things like, plyometrics, functional strength and athleticism developing exercises. There's tons of that online, okay? And we have a gym, Purler Performance, but doesn't pertain to you because you don't live probably near the St. Louis area. But that's the focus, right? Developing yourself as an athlete. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 thing that you should do is you should spend 2 hours a week studying sports psychology. Just get a book and read it and highlight it. And you go, oh man, chapter 12 sucked. I can't believe I wasted an hour and a half of my life. I'm so mad about that. Well, guess what? Chapter 13 might change your life. Read it 75 times. Highlight it. Read it. Now you got like a couple of books, and then you can just read the highlighted stuff. And now you can read through the best part of those books once a week. It's like marinating a steak. You just soak it. Right? I'm soaking my brain in the philosophies, and I'm learning how to communicate with myself. I'm learning to have self-communication thoughts that work on their own, but they're good and positive. Okay, so you might listen to the you might listen to the famous college coaches. They give interviews after dual meets. They share some good stuff, right? You might listen to some Olympic or NCAA guys and men and women. They're sharing good stuff, okay? You probably don't need any more of the, work hard, get tough, be a savage type of motivational stuff that's all over social media, which is very good, by the way. You're probably already motivated, or you wouldn't still be watching. We're 11 minutes into this awesome video that's life-changing if you follow the advice. So you probably don't need any motivational stuff. You need tools and tactics, and you need to know how to think. And you need to know your mind needs to be thinking the right things at the right time, 24/7, without you being involved. So we're trying to change our human. We're trying to change We're trying to change as a human. And you have to do that by studying. Maybe you go to YouTube and you type how to perform under pressure, how not to choke in big matches, and you listen, and then something's good, and you save it, and you listen to it 75 times, and then see, now you're changing your brain. You're starting to I got that. I listened to it 75 times. I am never going to be the same. Then you find another video, go, oh, that sucks. Delete it. But that video that sucks for you might change my life. So it's not a bad video. It's just not what you need at this time. Then you find something else, and then you keep pecking through. And you spend 2 or 3 hours a week studying human performance, sports performance, peak performance, how to overcome performance anxiety and the nervousness and the self-doubt, the sports psychology basically. But you want to make sure that it's not just basic sports psychology, because if I'm an Olympic shooter, like an Olympic archery, I want to almost be in a reptilian state. I don't even want to have a blood pressure. I don't want a heart rate. I want to be like, you see a lizard laying on a rock, just lays there like for 8 hours straight. You think it's dead. Well, you can't do that because you're a wrestler. So your sports psychology study has to pertain to combat sports. Because someone's trying to kick you in the neck, punch you in the face, choke you out, lock your arm out, in jiu-jitsu and MMA and striking. So there's a little bit of anger, There's a little bit of, combativeness. So the sports psychology type stuff you have to listen to, it can't just be some random book. It's got to pertain to your sport, and most of it does, to be honest with you. But just keep that in mind, okay? So what are you doing? Wrestle 2 days a week with a team, 1 day a week on your own, or maybe 3 in 1. Secondly, be very serious about the weight room. 2 days a week, mandatory, year-round, maybe 3 if you've got the time, but I don't think 3 is necessary. And prioritize protein, right? So you need about, 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight divided by 4. So, if you're 150 pounds, let's say you're going to have 250 grams of protein. You want 60, 60, 60, 60, right? 60 when you get up, 60 at lunch at school, 60 after school, 60 before bed, and or sprinkle throughout the day. That way you're feeding the body, okay? And you're actually going to get something out of the weightlifting. Then number 3, 2 to 3 hours a week studying sports psychology. And you have to study year round. You're never going to be fixed. It's constant effort. But it's not 100 hours a week. It's 2 hours a week, okay? So if you do those 3 things, those are 3 things I would have done differently as a wrestler. That's what I tell all of the athletes in our academy. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I told the guy today on the phone. That's what communications with my nephew and my wrestlers who ask my opinion. I'm going to give it anyway, but some people ask, and that's what I give them. And if you do that, it's going to be like magic. And guess what? You can do the weightlifting and wrestling all in the same day, and you can get 4 days a week off to be a kid and go hang out with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or go get a job, or just hang out. 3 days a week, 4 days a week off. It's beautiful, okay? So consider that as well. Thanks for following. All of the things we offer is at purlerwrestling.com. You've probably either been there or not, or you're probably just not interested and never going to go there, which is fine too. But purlerwrestling.com. Good luck. Thanks for watching.